Hello and welcome. I'm Annette Miltoft and I'm here with Sean Fielding and Jeff Skinner. Welcome to both of you. And thank you for agreeing to share your thoughts and reasoning behind creating a new course for ASTP, leading your first KT team. So just heading straight on into this, I think you are very well known as maybe two of the grandfathers of European knowledge transfer. You have extensive leadership experience, both of you. Why did you decide to create a new course on leadership?
My motivation on this is because I was thrust into first line leadership a lot of years ago. And I just wish there'd been something like this course where I could have met with others who were in the same situation and learnt from those who had done this before. There was plenty of general leadership courses around, but nothing specific to universities and knowledge transfer. Like all ASTP courses we run, it's motivated by wanting to teach stuff that we wish somebody had taught us when we were in their shoes.
Could you maybe share with us some of the things that you found to be difficult when you started out, Sean?
Well, I think, just in general terms, I think running a knowledge transfer team is pretty exciting. You're doing some potentially amazing things which have the potential to change the world, but it can actually be quite challenging. You've got a whole range of mechanisms you can use. You've got a whole load of subjects you can deal with. Your customer base is potentially huge, and there's so much you can't control, yet you're expected to be responsible for it. When you make the step from being a project manager, as many of us start off as, to being somebody responsible for a team, you have to hit the ground running and you have to make a difference pretty quickly in this environment that's very challenging. So I think you're learning new skills as you go, and you're trying to create this nice team that's going to do things really efficiently, but you probably haven't got much time, because the people responsible for you, your bosses, are looking at you the whole time to see if you're going to be any good at this.
Jeff, you also mentioned this. There's a window of opportunity and you're given authority. So what's your best advice to somebody who's taking on a leadership role in that early days? What is the first thing that they should do when they have just been chosen to do this job?
There is this element of deciding what are the expectations of your group. Now, often within universities, nobody will tell you because they don't quite know. Is it academic service? Is it socioeconomic benefit? Is it making money? But certainly, if they won't tell you, then tell them what you want to do. This ties into one of the themes we'll be picking up about setting a vision for the whole thing. Secondly, I think it's gathering information from within. The biggest issue, I think, is that when people are promoted up, they usually, as they're coming in from outside, they've got an existing portfolio of projects. And they're very reluctant to let those go. They want to carry on with that because that's their comfort zone. Getting rid of those or backburnering them and putting the time into actually meeting and understanding their people, figuring out who are the difficult people who you've got to deal with and what are the difficult situations that prevent really good people from doing what you want them to do. And then showing that you're then going to put real time into managing the people and their concerns and their performance. So it's an investment of time at the beginning, both upwards and to your new peers.
I couldn't agree more with that, Jeff. And I think what I learned over my time, and it was 30 odd years of managing teams in knowledge transfer, was that you often needed to take a kind of project management approach, even to long-term things. So if you're starting out with a new team, break it down into some chunks, like you would if you were doing a project. So the first 30 days, what will you do? Well, you've got to understand who the team are. You've got to know what their challenges are. You've got to understand why they think the team has not been performing as well as it should have done or could be better. Then you've got to think about the first 90 days. What do you have to do there? Well, you have to prove to your bosses that you've actually made a difference somehow and prove to the team that something has changed. Otherwise, you're not adding any extra value.
Just another angle to this is on the very personal level of that individual who's taking on that first leadership role. That is a huge change in somebody's life, moving from managing projects, being part of the team, to suddenly being the head of the team.
Yes, and I think it takes people quite a long time. This alludes back to the previous point where you try to stay in your comfort zone of doing
Exactly.
probably a
Yeah.
project that you were
Mhm.
really, really good at, and not wanting to let them go and realize just how much now you are going to achieve through other people rather than yourself. So it is a shock because so many things change. The biggest one, though, is recognizing that you now have a team to manage and to feed. I was quite good at building a team. We went from 5 to 50 over a few years. But when I look at the performance of that team, this is coming to sort of the regrets that I have, which are
Mm.
many, way too long to bring out the best in the good people who I recruited and to remedy the poor behavior by some of those who I'd inherited. And that has a real knock-on effect to the morale of the entire team.
And
Yeah.
tackling those difficult conversations, because you go from being maybe a very brilliant, supportive, mentoring colleague to actually being responsible for everybody's well-being.
Absolutely. This whole idea of wanting to do everything through consensus, where sometimes you
Yeah,
have to use your authority and sometimes
yeah,
you actually have to think about managing people out of the organization or
yeah,
discipline or
yeah,
really just telling people that what they're doing is unacceptable behavior. If you're used to doing through consensus, then that's a very uncomfortable set of conversations that
yeah,
you try to shy away from.
yeah.
Yes, knowledge transfer, it turns out, is not about IP, but about people. And so somebody in this team of people has to be able to help people know what good is and help people understand when they're doing things that aren't helpful. So somebody has to do that. And it turns out it's you.
Mm.
So there is a period of adjustment when you take on a leadership role where you have to move away from that being a friend and being a mentor into being someone that actually has
Mm.
a responsibility to everyone to achieve the objectives, whatever objectives it's been set.
And then
Mm.
this course is primarily about, so what do I do? Leadership is an apprenticeship to an extent. I mean, entrepreneurs, there's a certain amount you're born with, but a lot of it is experience and apprenticeship. And what we're trying to do is to speed up that apprenticeship by bringing together a group of people who are all in the same boat. We've deliberately picked a very nice location where people will be able to socialize and maybe build up some relationships with each other. Secondly, lots of case studies. This is not a lecture course. This is a series of case studies, situations, real context that we hope people will learn from those experiences, so fast track their ability to not make the same mistakes that we did.
Leadership in knowledge transfer is not really about being in charge. It's about your responsibility to enable your team to make a difference as soon as you can. I think of it as a responsibility. And I think this is one of the things the course is, I hope, going to help people understand. How can they use that responsibility effectively, but quickly? Maybe it took me 10 years to learn how to do some things. Maybe by going on this course, people would be able to do it in 3. Can we speed up the process? Can we make people more effective leaders? Can we help them develop their own careers because they become more effective leaders and obviously make their teams better?
What would you hope that, or what do you see as, based on your experience, if you were to name one key leadership quality that you would wish for every KT team out there that the manager of their team is in possession of, what would that be?
Well, I think I can give you 2. One is listening, be able to listen to your team, and you have to be able to listen to your customers, and your customers could be the academics or researchers or the partners that you're working with. But it's a key skill to be able to effectively listen and hear what people are telling you. The second thing I think you've got to have is resilience. Not all of your projects are going to work out. And some of your team are going to be very frustrated and disappointed because they've spent ages working on something and it's not been successful, probably for reasons outside of their own control. So you've got to have your own resilience and you've got to build resilience into your team because you become a successful entrepreneur by failure.
Thank you very much, both of you, for sharing your thoughts. I think it sounds really exciting, and I can say I wish that there had been this course when I was starting out, because a lot of the things that you've shared about your journey echoes completely with me. So thank you very much.